What is going on, people? Welcome back. It's your boy Minhaz. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you why we self-sabotage even when things are working in our favor. So trust me, if you're someone who's trying to shift yourself to a whole new reality, this video is going to help you big time. So make sure you're tuning in and make sure you're paying attention. This is a question I got received by one of my students. That's why I'm specifically making this for you. Shout out to you, Belinda. So before we begin, I want to remind you to take a deep breath in right now and a deep breath out. So what do I mean by self-sabotage? Let's clear that up first. Understand that wherever you're going, whenever you're trying to make a change in your life, there's always going to be an aspect of you that is resisting that change. All self-sabotage is when an aspect of you, a part of you is basically resisting the change that you're about to create in your life. To break that down, let's go a bit deeper. The ego is a construct. The mind is a construct of all that you have experienced. Every single time in your life where you experience some form of pain or trauma or shame, you created a split within the mind. This caused you to fragment your own personality, meaning you split into two. So it's like this. For example, if you were a child, you witnessed your mom and dad arguing over money, you most likely associated money with pain. Meaning now that you might be 30, 40, 25 years old, whatever your age is, now that you might be consciously trying to move towards financial freedom or a successful relationship, regardless of what it is, right? This applies in every area of your life. So understand that the moment you're going to try to go towards it, you have to heal those unconscious blocks that you have been carrying since you were a child. Now, if you don't, what happens is when you go after what you want, you will unconsciously sabotage it because your own subconscious mind is hardwired to say that equals pain. I don't want to go towards this because that's going to cause me more pain. So that's all self-sabotage is. Self-sabotage is when an aspect of you does not want the very thing that you consciously think you want. So I'll give you a good example. It's like most of you want to get into a relationship, yet most of you don't even feel safe in terms of receiving and giving love. So therefore, whenever you get into a situation where you have to give or receive love, you will self-sabotage it, even if the perfect partner was standing right in front of you. So now that we've cleared that up in terms of self-sabotage, the word self-sabotage is, we got such a negative connotation around it, meaning we see it as such a bad thing. But the truth is, your own subconscious mind is simply trying to keep you safe. Your ego, it serves one purpose, to keep you safe and comfortable. Therefore, self-sabotage, truth be told, is basically your own mind trying to take you back to where you're comfortable. So that's all it is. It's like, so if you want to change your reality, you have to change what you are comfortable with. It's as simple as that. So whenever you're trying to implement a new strategy, a new lifestyle, understand that you will not be comfortable in that new reality until you become comfortable with that new reality. For example, let's give you a good example, like your first relationship, your first job, the moment you started school. If you're old, then try to remember back to your first day job, when you come back to school after a long holiday and you're going to the next year in your school. It's like everyone's anxious the first week. You're anxious in the first week of your day job, right? And within a week or two, what happens? Eventually you get to a stage where you become super comfortable. It becomes second nature. It's just like driving a car. If you guys haven't driven a car or a motorbike before, I'm telling you, the first couple of weeks, you'll be mad anxious. But after a couple of weeks, that reality becomes so second nature to you that you can do it in your sleep. You can start thinking about things whilst you're driving your car, right? But remember, when you first go in your car, you were like checking the mirrors and you're like, oh, am I going the right way? Like So understand, this is the same principle that applies to career, finances, business, everything, relationships, every part of your life. Whenever you're going to be experiencing something that you actually consciously want, there's going to be another part of you that's panicking in the background. Now, where do most of us fail? I mean, not fail, but where do most of us go wrong? Why do we end up really sabotaging things and going backwards? It's because you do not acknowledge the fear. So many people want to step into that new reality and they don't acknowledge that they're afraid also. When you don't acknowledge that you are afraid, what happens is that part of you that is afraid will literally break things to get your attention. Meaning that fear needs to be acknowledged at all times. Right? So for me to do these videos, I had to be aware of there's a part of me that is anxiously afraid of doing this at the same time. So the more aware I become of the fear, I can nurture myself through it. Whereas if I just showed up and I was pretending to myself that I am not afraid, I'm this courageous person, I suppress the fear. And guess what? The fear will be suppressed until it builds up so much that I end up sabotaging everything. You'll see me disappear for a couple of weeks. I've done that. That's the truth. I've done that with everything in my life. I feel like every single one of you have to go through it for you to realize. If anything, you have to sabotage the very thing that you want for you to realize what is going on. So this is a very natural process. I don't even want you to think, oh, how do I avoid self-sabotage? I want you to understand, how do I embrace it? How do I heal myself through it? How do I understand myself to another level? So why is it that we reject the very thing that we want? That is as simple as that. It is out of your comfort zone. You have to stick there until it becomes your comfort zone. You see, so many of you, if you are a hard achiever, sometimes you might try to, push yourself to a new place. You might just get into a relationship. You might start speaking, communicating with someone new. Now, if you try to rush it too much, it's like you want to learn how to swim and you're swimming straight into the ocean. You want to take it slow. Get really good at the shallow end. Then get good at the midway of the swimming pool, and then get good at the deep end, and then you go somewhere else, right? Then once you can run laps back and forth in the swimming pool, then you think about going to the ocean. That's only if you're terrified of swimming in the ocean. Now, there's a quicker way of doing it. How do I do it? I mean, there's a method that I like to approach is jump straight into the ocean and figure it out. But truth be told, when you do that, when you jump straight into the deep end, the place that you don't really want to go, you sometimes bounce back just as hard because the thing is, in that moment, you realize that you are capable of doing it. You see, everything that you wish to achieve or manifest into your life is not something that you have to create. It already exists. Say if you're trying to create a business, right? You have to understand that you are simply implementing the steps that is required from you for that reality to come true. Now, the problem is if you have beliefs and limitations around money, that's when it will surface the moment you are taking steps towards it. So, for example, so many of you want to get into a relationship, and yet if someone's standing right in front of you and they're the perfect person that you've been looking for, you might find yourself actually rejecting the whole situation. You might find yourself running away from the situation. So in terms of relationship, it's like, why would most of us destroy the very thing that we want, especially when it's presented to us? It's like, I have done this myself. I know people who do this. I've literally been with people who've done this to me as well. It's like they ask for something, they want something, and then when it shows up, they just reject it. They want to run away from it, and then they convince themselves that they're not ready. They don't want this. This isn't it. It's like, and then they move completely away from it. But look, either way, if you've done this in your life, I want you to understand something here. There is no right or wrong way here. Sometimes you got to walk away for you to realize what you walked away from. It's like sometimes for me to get to this point where I made this into my full-time job, right? I had to sabotage things. I had to mess it all up for me to realize the value of what it is that I want, right? I had to go back so I could come back harder. Sometimes you got to make those mistakes. And in some ways, we don't even need to call them a mistake. I just want you to realize when you don't acknowledge the part of you that is afraid of the very thing that you wish to manifest, you will sabotage things. It's as simple as that. Self-sabotage isn't even a bad thing, guys. Do not get caught up in that whole labeling situation. So when you self-sabotage, there's simply a part of you that needs your attention, that needs your healing. So I'll give you a better way of looking at this. Imagine there's one person that wants something and there's another person that doesn't. Imagine a couple, right? The husband wants to be successful financially, and the wife, she doesn't really care. Now, the husband wants to become financially successful is because he wants to create wealth in his life. He wants to buy his own home. He wants to stop working a 9-to-5. Whereas the wife is so careless with money. She doesn't care about it. Why? Because as a child, she experienced so much pain around money that she just doesn't even want to think about it. Whereas the opposite is basically when now the husband versus the wife, right? Now, imagine they're together, right? They're locked together. They have to do it together. You see, this is what's basically happening internally within your own subconscious mind. Consciously is the husband, subconsciously is the wife. I mean, nothing to do with the actual genders, right? I'm just using that as an example. So it's like, imagine your conscious mind wants financial freedom, your subconscious mind doesn't, right? Because of the pain you've experienced as a child. So therefore, it's like for you to heal that, you have to find out why you are afraid of the very thing that you desire to manifest, which completely ties into relationships too. So I do want to fundamentally focus more on about relationships as we go further on, because essentially relationships are the best way of you understanding the relationship that you have with yourself. Regardless of what it is that you're trying to manifest into your life, we can use relationships as a foundation for everything else that goes on top of it. So in terms of, I've seen, so including myself, I'll give you a story, right? it's like when my whole life I've been going around seeking, craving for love, and it's like the moment someone comes to give it to me, I reject it. The reason I reject it is because deep down within myself, I'm afraid that I'm not worthy of love. So it's like the moment someone gets too close, I want to run away because what I'm used to is not receiving it. Now that I'm receiving something that I'm not used to, I want to run away. So that's when it hits you. It's like your whole life you went around suffering with your story where I thought to myself, oh, I'm feeling like this because I can't be loved. But the truth is, even when I get into that situation, I destroy it. Then it's like the story goes from, oh, I can't ever find it, to, oh my God, even when I find it, I can't even have what I want. I run away from it. There's something wrong with me. So it's like, essentially, this applies to business too. Because I know a lot of my students, they're trying to figure out this in their business. It's like one of my students, she basically came from a lot of suffering in her past. Now that she's creating the wealth that she wants, she started realizing that her internal self is still as if she's broken. So I'll use my example as this. So when I first started making money out of what it is that I love to do here, I realized I'm still thinking as if I'm poor. I'm still making decisions as if I don't have enough money. I'm still making decisions as if I'm not going to be able to make the money that I want. This is the craziest part. It's like you realize you are addicted to your pain. Why are we addicted to our suffering? So why are we addicted to our suffering? I'm going to make a whole new episode on that just after this one, because I feel like you guys will truly value from just that one alone. Because that's something that I've witnessed with myself over and over and over again. It's like we are truly, truly addicted to our story. Even when you have the map laid out right in front of you, you realize that it's nothing about the success. It's almost about you crave what you are used to. You crave what you are familiar with. So it's like, fundamentally, back to the original question, which is, why do we sabotage the very thing that we want? It's because we're afraid of it. We're afraid of the very thing that we want. So your job is to figure out, why am I afraid of this? And the moment you can figure out why am I afraid of this, you can get to a stage where you can truly acknowledge the fear behind it, the real root cause of the issue, which is usually trauma that you might have experienced as a child. So as you heal it, how do we heal it? I've got multiple podcast episodes that are on this. I've also got YouTube videos on this. Hopefully I should be able to tag one up here. If not, take a look at my channel. You should find one there. Take a look at my podcast channel if you're on the run or if you're on the go, that you don't have time for YouTube. And you will find a lot of episodes on healing itself, but I'll share it with you. As you feel, you heal. It's as simple as that. As you feel it, you heal it. Now, the reason we go to the root cause of the issue is because you want to dig it out completely. You want to pull it out from the root. What you do is if you when you're moving towards the direction that you want, say you're getting into that relationship, you're communicating your emotions, you're stepping into your outside of your comfort zone, you'll notice that resistance will arise, the fear will arise. Now, in that moment, you can simply feel it and heal it. It's as simple as that. But if you want to speed up the process, you go to the root cause of the issue. How do you do that? You simply lie down, sit down, and put your hand over your heart, and you ask yourself the question, why do I feel the way I feel? Why am I feeling this way? And then allow the mind to speak, because remember, the mind is a projecting tool. It will project the emotions externally, but whereas when you are having a conversation with your feelings, you'll notice how the mind will try to find a solution for that question. So therefore, your mind will be like, I'm afraid, I'm scared. So some of you might want to write this down. For me, I usually do this while I'm just lying down in my bed, really. I put my hand over my heart and I ask myself, what is it? What's wrong? And I'll be like, that part of me would say, the fear would speak. And the fear would say, I'm scared. I feel like I'm going to be alone. There's something wrong. And it's like eventually you get to the root cause of the issue. The more you ask, like eventually you reach a stage where you feel like you want to just cry, yo. You just want to let it out. It's like, and when you keep asking yourself, what's wrong? Is everything okay? You speak to yourself like the mother or the father that you need to be for yourself. Reparenting, if you don't know about that, I will make a video about that. Drop me a comment down below if you want to know more about reparenting, or send me a message and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. And it's like, understand that you're basically reparenting your own fear. That's all you need to do. And the moment you do this, guys, you might cry, you might get out of the emotion and you feel heaviness, just escape. You might bawl like a baby, yo. So after you get out of that emotion, once you notice yourself, flood yourself like a baby, almost bawl like a baby, you get out of it and then you'll be like, whoa, what just happened? And then You just go about your day. You just continue about your day. You keep moving forward. You keep implementing steps. But at the same time, sometimes you might feel so drained out that you just want to relax. You just want to go outside and take a walk. You just want to read some books. Do that. Do whatever you want at this point. But what I usually do is I get up and I try to move forward, right? And essentially you get to a stage where you're healing it. You're healing the resistance that would have showed up if you didn't acknowledge it. Most people avoid this situation, especially a lot of men. They don't like to feel their emotions. So that's why when they're going, they hustle so much till they burn out. Whereas I hustle till I need to cry, fam. It's as simple as that. And the moment I let it all out, my life changes. My life completely changes the moment I can get to a stage where I feel so heavy. I feel like there's so much resistance here. My life changes again and again and again and again every single time I do that. You see, most people, they don't want to take action when they feel resistance show up. But the truth is, if you want to change your life over and over again, you need to go where the resistance is. You need to find your greatest challenge. Your challenge is usually where you don't want to go, where you're afraid to go. If you want to change your life quickly, you go where you're afraid to go. Now, guys, I want to quickly make an announcement. I am looking for 5 more people to jump on Quantum Leap program, right? Where we go through this step by step, where I share with you everything. And not only that, it's a 6-week program where we break it down completely, everything that has transformed my life and all the students that are in the program. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you're tuning in on a daily basis, because I'm going to be, getting people on for testimonials where I'm going to be interviewing them so I can show you guys how it's impacted a lot of people that I've worked with. So not only do you get 6 weeks with me, you get a lifetime support system where you will literally have me guide you through your whole journey, essentially. Why have I done that lifetime support? Is because, I know what it feels like is once you finish a program, I know what it feels like to feel like you're on your own. And I want to create a community here where you will have me for a lifetime. So other than that, guys, I just want to keep this short and sweet. If this episode resonated with you, make sure you give me a thumbs up, drop a comment down below if you have any questions. Other than that, guys, I hope to see you guys soon, and yeah, peace and love.